Now it works. Camera did not want to switch on. Third time a charm, as they say. Third time a charm. Hey, listen. Hey, listen. Hey, listen. Yeah, but now it works. I hate it when the webcam doesn't want to switch on. There's nothing you could do about it. Alright. Let's start. Let's start. Let's just do it. Let's do it. What reboot is required? Oh shit. Alright. Mm, 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 mm. Okay. So for today, I mean, there's a lot of things that needs to be done in this painting. Most of it is just time and like fixing edges and stuff. Hey Yatsuki, hey Eric Mui, how's it going? How is things? I'm really looking forward to holiday break. So much things to juggle constantly. It's gonna be nice to just switch off a bit. Hey Chillstrand, Quentin, Iloart, hey hey hey. Oh man, this is a constantly juggling act with this painting. I really wish I would have spent more time setting it up correctly. Because now my biggest issue is the colors. I think that's where I kind of jumped the gun a bit too much. Like I feel like in this painting I've been constantly just changing, trying to find a good balance. It's so annoying. But I'm hoping to be finished with this actually. Even though it's fun, it's also annoying. Hey Hugh, how's it going, man? And nice to see you back, Mr. Hugh Dio. Lovely art recently, by the way. Hey, Ohms. Captain Jetlag is in the house. That's really cool, Chilstrand. That's awesome. Yeah, Hugh, as I don't think maybe you've been here recently. I'm every year I'm making always a Christmas card, and this year I thought I'd stream it. So that's what I'm currently doing. Just kind of working on the Christmas card, little by little. Um, I'm struggling a little bit with it. I kind of shot myself in the foot a bit by jumping the gun. Kind of rushed into it a little bit too fast. I should have established certain parts of the painting more earlier on in the process. So now I'm paying for it by redoing sections constantly, especially with color palette. F1 Axt, hello. Hello. Hello, new person. Welcome. Well, thank you, Hugh. Thank you. Hugh, yeah, yeah. I've been constantly kind of struggling with it. I mean, I know what to do. It's just annoying. It's one annoying feeling that you know, like constantly just wasting time redoing something that ideally you would already have solved, you know, at this point of the painting. But I know the reasoning why I am struggling and all that. So it's not like I don't understand why it's an uphill battle. I fully aware of my mistake. And I think that's also a bit of the nice aspect of streaming something like this. Is that you show a little bit of the ups and downs as well. It's not just a nice picture in the end. It's the struggle we all go through being artists, you know, trying to figure out how this game's working. Hey, Morphia. Yeah, the cheese is snowing. You know, you gotta ham it up a bit. Hugh, absolutely. I think, especially for beginners, I think is really healthy for them to see um, someone who's working in the industry. You know, not just isn't this machine, right? And also they can learn from my mistakes. So that's in a way why I love streaming. It's also fun to sketch and all that, but it's also I love the idea of potentially helping someone, you know, by just being creative and showing that. Oh, what's happening in the beard there? This year, Christmas feels like something is missing. But I'm guessing it'll be more Christmassy the closer to Christmas Eve you get. At the moment, I'm just too busy to relax. But like I said, Friday is the last episode of season 2. I won't be streaming anymore this year after, or at least 30-minute warm up after Friday. I'll start again January 4th. A voodoo breakfast, how's it going? You got a singing welcome this morning, apparently. A voodoo breakfast is singing. Mila is the queen. So I've been painting a thing for this client that wants like more stylized style, and it's so interesting. Like when you have to switch style up for a client, and sometimes it can get so challenging to flip the switch of like going from yeah, I'm like a singing bird, bird of paradise, more like a crow. Anyways, what I was saying, it was it's always so it can be so challenging of doing something very stylized, like in the lines of what's very stylized, like Sea of Thieves, for example. That's very stylized compared to realistic like Call of Duty, right? Um, and and it's so challenging occasionally that when you do like half a day very stylized art, then on the flip of a switch you have to do extremely realistic work, and it can be so like jarring in your mind. Like you need a break from creating art. uh, just walk away, like try almost like preparing for a run or jump, so like triathlon event, like you have to shake it off, get warm up, and like okay, let's put the stylized aspects to side and let's just completely change it up so that this client won't get some weird looking. You need like I need to be real, stay with reality, no stylization whatsoever. I mean, yeah. Well, yeah, my native language is Swedish, obviously, and English is one of my second language. I guess you could say English is one of my second languages. I speak more than two. Boss! Good morning, boss! Awesome. Which were yeah, stylization and realistic. Regardless, it doesn't need to be realistic or stylization, but still. Uh, what I was gonna get to was with the rant that I did yesterday. Was it yesterday? About process, and that was on Monday. Rant about process was on Monday. Um, was that with stylization you got to approach things completely differently. You have to paint the values differently. You have to set your painting up completely differently. And if it's realistic, you you absolutely can't use the same process. So that's what I've heard from a lot of other artists in the industry, is that like they don't understand how I can switch styles so easily, because it but but for me, why it's easier, it's because a lot of people don't try different methods and experiment with approaches, right? They do their stuff really well, and it looks amazing, but they can't change in an effective way, right? And I'm not saying it's bad or that it's good, that what they can't that they can't do it. It was just something I noticed and thought about, and a requirement almost, at least at our studio, that that approach to that extent that you can change it up depending on what the client asks for. It's quite an interesting thing, though. Hey, Matthias, or Matthias, how's it going? Like, take Quentin, for example, here in the chat. He works at Opus. His warm-ups recently, for the last, I'd say, month or two or three, has been like stylized stylization warm-ups where he experimenting almost purely by approach. Like subject matter is, at least it seems like subject matter is secondary, and he's more concerned about hair. He's more concerned about his hair. No, he's more concerned about the process, right? How to get a certain look. Yeah, definitely. It is a challenge in itself, which is always intriguing. You know, like so you get a new client that says we want this style of painting. Like, we want the concept to look in this style, but obviously um, filtered through us as the artists, right? So they don't say we want this image, but our character. They said this is kind of like what we agreed on to be the look of the concept you will provide, right? So that we know, okay, it's not realistic, or this hypothetical situation, it's not realistic, it's stylized more like, let's say, Fortnite or whatever. And then you go, all right, okay. Um, so then you need to, first of all, understand what the client asks for. So you go, okay, this is the kind of style, this is the way they treat materials, this is the way they accentuate the human form. Even though the client itself hasn't said, we want it to look like this is the way you should morph the anatomy, this is the way you should describe materials. Obviously they're not saying that because that would be overkill. They don't want to spend that much time explaining to us how to do our job. They just want to show a stylized image that says something like this. This looks cool. Do something in this direction. And then you have to go just, okay, how do I do this? Like, how should the approach be? What's the important aspects that I need to focus on first? And how do I wrap it into a good delivery? Uh, you know, so then you just have to think about that as well then, as how should I design stuff. It's a little bit of like a measuring act. Fortnite. Uh, it's more like a measuring act, like how to tip the scale. It could even be like a simple thing like how dense should the details be that you design, like how big or should the shapes be. That could, it's so many different aspects. Um, like you have to decide on the go almost. Like, okay, worst is when something is not working and you can't figure out why the client isn't happy. It doesn't happen too often, but it happens occasionally. Like you have to revise, you have to go back, or the client says, more like this, or think, we like things to look this way more here. Please don't do this again, or whatever. It can happen, but it's common, because if a client says we don't know really what we want, but we want something in this direction, they clearly don't know exactly what they want. So they're gonna visually search through your images what they want. So usually there's always telltale signs in a client when they don't really know what they want. You have to prepare for iterations. You're gonna get it back saying we want XYZ changes, but you or the artist like doing it has to just be mentally prepared that it's not going to be a home run first time around. Well, if you're lucky, it happens sometimes when they just go, whoa, that's perfect, just finish it. That's perfect, exactly what we had in mind. And those days are fantastic, but they're they're not that very often as one would think. Usually there's always iterations involved, but that's okay. I think this is part of the process of being like a production artist, when they don't have defined concepts already, when they hire you to explore stuff for them, then you should be, accept the fact that you're going to have to draw the same thing over and over again in different ways, and do more than one version of it, which for me is the fun aspect, which is a really good stuff. Like, how can I give it my spin on things? Yeah, a voodoo breakfast. That's a good exercise as well. Like taking a Powerpuff Girl and making it into a real person, or something like that. Where obviously from the beginning it's stylized, extremely stylized, and then like place it into reality. I mean, it's very common in fan art, like do like Super Mario, give Super Mario realistic skin textures and stuff. Like it happens a lot. Arms, yeah, almost like a method machine. Yeah, it depends obviously, on client and so on. And certain studios, they say we do this style only. You don't need to ask us for anything else. Like Six More Vodka, for example, they never do. I haven't seen them do stylized stuff. They do Six More Vodka style. So if you hire them for character, you will get the character in the style of Six More Vodka. While, while I'm not saying we are, Six More Vodka does what they do really, really good. And we do things differently, and that's it. We do. We like the idea. I mean, I'm not talking for the company. I'm talking for me and what I think. You uh, for me, we like the idea more of creating new stuff, new styles, new designs. And sometimes, if you're stuck in a style, you can only do it to a certain extent until you've done most gone down most avenues, I guess. And that's why it's a lot of fun to get a new style with new possibilities, to play around with. Captain Boss, yeah, I mean Six More Vodka, they do amazing art. But for me, what I find a little bit boring is, obviously you can see Six More Vodka, do their art, and you can see it's clearly Six More Vodka's art, um, for good and it's bad. I'm a little bit mixed on what my opinions of Six More Vodka is when it comes to their stylistic choices, that they always sit in the same room. Uh, I think how I see it is that I love the ideas that they produce. I love the style they produce. Would I love doing that style only? Probably not. I think, much like a really great hamburger, like eating hamburger every day is gonna suck in the end. You're gonna be so bored of hamburgers. Um, Yeah, man, I come up with the shittiest analogies. I just been laughing at my own analogies. They're so bad. But Six More Vodka, I mean, huge admiration for them. They do amazing work. Voodoo breakfast. That is true. That is true. Unless you think you outsmarted the game, and so when you have to explain what you want to eat, you say salad. So you get salad leaves. You just get salad leaves. And you go like, oh shit. Yeah, I'm personally, I'm getting a little bit bored of streaming this uh, painting. I'm thinking maybe I should keep working on it on the side and spend the last few days on the stream just having you guys suggest topics maybe. I think that might be a better. I think you guys might be bored of it as well. Oh, really? Captain Boss, Six More Vodka. All right. Who was it? Do you remember the artist? Was it that French artist? Alexis Bricot, or however you say it? He used to be with Six More Vodka, but I think he went on his own freelance, and then I think he's a co-founder of Don't Know Nod, right? Iloards. All right, that's good. That's good. But like I mentioned before, like when a painting is at this stage, you just need to put in the time to work everything up to a decent level where it's finished. I mean, in 30 minutes, you can get a sketch up to a decent level for a sketch. But then the more the painting progresses, the more attention it requires. Especially if you're making it into a bigger illustration like this, where everything stylistically as well as needs to be very clear, and that takes time. Oh, just drawing. All right. So who only drew with Six More Vodka? Or maybe it's not even connected with Six More Vodka. Maybe it's just around that time you saw someone else. It could be anyone really. Have you seen? Let me again stop painting and Google something. Have you seen the artist Noxus Mad? He's a French artist. I don't remember what his name is, uh, but he paints really, really nice. Like his like sense of light is great. So this is like he paints a lot. He's I'd say he's a better illustrator than he is a concept artist for me. He paints fantastically. He designs decently, but his sense of like renders, of volumes and so on is really, really good. Oh, it's not Alexis. All right. Well, I think for me, like Alexis paints really nice. His style is really cool, but it's not something I could sit and go like, oh wow, that's fantastic. How do you do that? Like I when I see his images, I don't want to know more about them. Unfortunately, uh, they're great. You know, they're really well made and all that, but just doesn't speak to me and doesn't interest me. I mean, of course, he when he sometimes he does something interesting, and I'll be engaged by it. But most of the time, you know, when it comes to my taste, looking at Alexis' work, it's impressive, but it like passes. You know, it doesn't connect with me. But that doesn't diminish his skill set, you know, at all. It's just not for me. It's weird. On the Twitch stream, everything is a lot greener than in Photoshop. Photoshop is a lot warmer, and in Twitch, it's just kind of green. It's weird. Anyways, that's it for today. I think come tomorrow and Friday, let's do back to sketches. I think this Christmas card has ran its course, probably live. I mean, I'm just sitting and noodling for 30 minutes. Might not be that interesting. Or I'll just do it 2 more days. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. Anyways, thanks everyone for joining in. Have a fantastic day. Good night. And see you tomorrow. Bye, all you fantastic people. Bye. Outro time.